Okay, so today I have Millennium Blades, the collector card game simulator card game by Brad Talton from Level 99 Games. The art's by Fabio Fontes, and it's amazing. A lot went into it, and I'm sure many of you will appreciate a lot of the references and how interesting the art is. Also, just a really interesting game altogether. Now, we recently did a podcast on Idle Red Hands, just explaining our experiences with this game, and it was a little hard for some people to imagine, so we were requested to do some videos and take some photos. So I hope this will help you understand the game a little bit better, as well as just see how I have it organized for those of you who haven't listened to the podcast. Alright, well, let's open her up. Let's see what's inside. Big box. A lot of people have invested in like inserts. There are some really nice inserts out there that you can buy. I have not bought one, so you'll see that it's just my organization, which I never actually finished, and it's kind of falling apart. Anyway, instruction manual. In here, you'll see a lot of different variants on how to play. Level 99 loves to give you options, and there are lots of options. But I usually just stick to the base game. Here you have 5 player mats. The player mats, this is the deck building side. There's 2 sides to each player mat. Deck building side, these are just guides, kind of area management. You're forming a collection of cards of same types or same elements, and you're making your collection over here. This is your deck area, so this is what you'll take to the tournaments in the tournament phase. And over here, you'll just put all the other cards that you're not going to use and want to save for later. You know, you're not required to put them in these spots, but it helps. And on the back, you have the tournament side. And here you put your deck box and your accessories, and you play 1 card at a time in your tableau. And that's the tournament. And you'll gain ranking points. And you just keep track of that. Up here with little cubes, you have your ones, your tens, and your hundreds. Okay? Alright. And the main board is comprised of a store area. So this is the store. You'll have 10 cards in which you can purchase. So here you'll put 1 card face down with the back side up. And they're like booster packs. You buy 1 booster pack, you flip it over, and you get a card that you can add to your deck. And you'll have like a whole pile of cards here. I'll show you in a setup video later. And over here you have your promos. So you have a bunch of cards, and you can fuse them, you know, like with the power of the cards, you can fuse them, and it'll take 5 to make a bronze promo, 7 to make a silver promo, 9 to make a gold promo. And then also you have the aftermarket and the metagame. So metagames kind of influence your deck building. You'll be revealed an element and a type, and you'll want to include those cards in your deck. So that kind of changes your plan. And then cards you don't need, maybe you'll sell them over here in the aftermarket, and you'll get money based off the star value of the cards, and someone else can buy it if they want. So, and these are some things I made here. So you'll get a pack of scoring sheets here, and you can just write all your information. But rather than use all the scoring sheets, I decided to enlarge one and laminate it, and just use whiteboard markers, and then we can just erase it when we're done. And these are some reference sheets that I made for the deck building phase and the tournament phase. Unfortunately, there's still a few little mistakes in here that I would like to edit one day. And then here is your game. Now, as I said, there's lots of stuff in here. Let me show you the tokens first. So each player... Oh, real quick. Money. This is my store deck already set up. Over here are other expansions that you can make more of a variety of different store decks based off these cards and these promos. And then here are your players, and here are your starter decks. So first, let me show you the tokens that you get in here. Each player will receive a little pack of cell tokens, some cell tiles, and your cubes to keep track of your ranking points during the tournament phase. Depending on how many players, you have 3 or 4 of these, and you place these on your cards when you either fuse them in the fusion area or when you sell one in the aftermarket. So you just kind of place it on top of your card. If someone buys it, you get your marker back, but you're only limited to sell this many cards per deck building phase. And each card. So here's an example of a card here. This is from the 101 Nights or 1001 Nights expansion pack. That's the rarity of it. So expansion is kind of one of the more common booster packs. There's the price that you buy it for, so you pay $4. And when you buy it, you take it. It looks like a pack of cards from this series, and you open it, and there you get a card. You get a mystical lamp. You have star value. You have a type and an element. I think I got that right. Right? Element, type. Anyway, and they'll give you little instructions on how to use the card. This one is not in a sleeve for some reason. And as you can see, that's just the one set. Also in the expansion sets, you have different series. And No Man's Land. And each series kind of has their own little mechanic, but they all integrate. So as expansion, they're the more common ones. You have premium packs that are kind of this bluish gray color. And you have master packs, which are this reddish color. And they're the least common. And then you also have different promos. These are the bronze promos that you fuse for. Yeah, put that right there. Silver promos and gold promos in the back here. I keep them separated by a little white divider. They're all alphabetical. And I have a lot of them in here as well. Over here, let's take a look at some of the player cards. So, when you're playing this game, you take control of a character. This is you in the game, like you're in this Yu-Gi-Oh type world, and you give everyone one of these little packs. And inside this pack, now some of these things that you use, some of these things you won't use. It really depends on what type of game you're playing. If it's your first time playing, they recommend not using this character card, but still giving it out, because this gives you a deck building power. You gain $15 at the start of the deck building phase, and you may pay $1 to look at a face down card in the story area. So you can play $1 and you kind of look at the card. And during the tournament phase, you have this power. As an action, you may spend $1 to put a +1 star token onto any card in your tableau, and then you got a scoring ability as well. So these add more variety to the actual game, and everyone has different powers. So they recommend, if it's your first time playing, not to use these, but give everyone a character, because you have friendship cards, and by doing a trade or making a deal with another player, you can give them a friendship card, which will give them victory points towards the end of the game. And depending on how much they helped you, you can give them a 1, 2, or 3 points. They're like, oh man, I really need that card. Here, I'll give you 3 friendship points. And through the power of unity, we shall succeed. Things like that. And then finally, in the pack, every character has a pro card. And as a prize, whoever wins the tournament, every player in the tournament will get one of their pro cards. And it'll be a card made up of them, kind of like a real card tournament. Often, people sell them. I don't know. You could use them. They're really powerful. This is actually a variant, so it depends on whether you want to use these or not. It really depends on who's playing. I like to use them. I think it's fun. You want a tournament. It's like, here's a card that's made to look like you. Okay, so those are your characters. And then next, behind the characters, I have the starting decks. Now, I'm about to get an expansion as well as some promo packs, and they're going to come with more characters and more starting decks. I'm really excited about this. So you give one of these out. People can choose them or give them out randomly. They all have a different mechanic. They all have a different element. Like this is magic. This one's this one's demon. This one's like air. This one's water. So here's the element. This is the type. So they're all water cards in this one. This one's all fire cards. And they all have fire cards. So you know, it's good to do a lot of times a game consists of 3 tournaments, but if you're playing like a beginner game, you do a pre-release tournament, which is just playing with your starter, just so you get familiar with the game, play with the starter. A lot of times after that, you end up trading it in as a collection because they're all the same type, or they're all the same element, so it's really easy to make a collection out of these. So here, let's take a quick look at one of these packs. Alright, so sometimes this comes into play, but you don't actually end up buying any of these cards because you just get them for free. So as I said, here's the star value, here's the element, here's the type, and then this is the rarity. So this is actually a common card, and you'll see that different cards have different rarities, like a bronze promo, for example. And you know, they have a play abilities, so that comes into effect when you play it. Maybe they'll have an ongoing ability, which will be ongoing until the scoring phase. They'll have an action, so during your turn you can play one card and take one action in either order. Taking an action is optional, but you must play a card. If you use an action, you have to, when you're finished using action, you flip the card. That's it. Some cards say flip. This does not mean you can flip it. It means if you flip it one way or another, you know, by another card's ability, you'll gain ranking points or something like that. So it comes with each starter deck comes with 1 deck box and 1 accessory. So that's what a starter deck looks like. Let me put this back. Alright. And last but not least, let's take a look at the money here. This was a really fascinating feature for a lot of people just because you're like, paper money? Are you crazy? But, you know, Brad Talton was very adamant about these wads of cash. So it's a bunch of paper money taped together. And this wad is 1 wad of cash. So when you're buying a card, it's kind of abstracted. It says like $1 on it, but it actually means like 1 wad of cash. And you're just like, oh, here's my wad of cash. So you pay 1. This one's worth 5. When you play this game, do not take these seals off. Some people want to be like, oh, okay, I'll just rip this open and use these. No. This is 5. This is 1. So it's like, together, this is 6. And it's a lot of fun just throwing these down and letting them flop on the table. You might enjoy that if you're into the aesthetic of games. Alright. And, as I said, I have my store deck set up here. So I just keep it in, and the store deck is, and then I'll have the promos up here, as well as the meta cards. So here, let me show you the meta cards real quick, just so you know what they look like. Alright, so you have 2 meta cards. You have the element metagame and the type metagame, and you reveal one at a time. So when you start the deck building phase, you'll reveal the top one, which this is an air boost. So for every air card that you have in your deck, you'll get plus 15 ranking points at the end of the game. For if you have just one, you don't get this multiple times. You'll just have it just one, at least one, and you'll get 15 points. And the type is pretty much the same just for type. So if you have this type, you'll get 15 points. You want to try to get both of these. That's 30 points. That can really help you in the game, you know, in the tournament. So those are revealed during the deck building phase, one at a time. And the second one comes later because you're building your deck and you're like, I don't know what that second meta is going to be. And then it shows up and you're like, I don't have that in my deck. Can I make it happen? It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You know, people were kind of skeptical about the deck building phase, but it was really intense. You know, just the clock's ticking, and you're trying to put your deck together, and you're trying to meet these meta requirements as well as make a good deck to win you the game. Now, the game isn't just won by having the best deck and winning tournaments. Winning tournaments is a good way to win the game, but winning the game is also counted for most money, having most victory points for trading in collections, and having friendship points, things like that. Now, also, I made these, but I'm not going to use them because someone made a web app online. But these were my randomizers, so if I wanted to make a random store deck, I would just shuffle these and deal out ones accordingly. And then you could distribute a random character in a random starter deck. But, as I said, fortunately, I don't use these anymore. Things have been made simpler with technology. Alright, well that's it for the unboxing here. I hope that has whetted your appetite to play the game and give you a better understanding of what's involved in the game. Now, probably later I'll do like a little setup video just so you know how it's all set up and how it plays. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.